That night I saw the Santa Compana. I do not believe in ghosts. I do not believe in meigas. I do not believe in processions of the dead who walk with candles along the roads of Galicia, searching for someone to take. My father did not believe either. He used to say the Santa Compana was what happened to drunks walking home alone from the tavern on a road without streetlights. But I saw lights on the cliff. I saw a procession climbing toward the lighthouse. And I heard voices that were not the wind. You can believe whatever you want. I know what I saw. And I know what I felt, that the 6 men from the Santa Lucia had waited 20 years to climb that hill, and that night, at last, someone had opened the door for them. Hugo was screaming. Not with the lawyer's voice. Not with the calculated voice of the man who controlled every conversation, every silence, every glance. He was screaming with the voice of someone who has been holding something in for 20 years and can no longer contain it. A voice the wind tore to pieces, the rain drowned, but that still reached every one of us with the obscene clarity of a confession no one has asked for. I was in the balcony doorway. Martin behind me, his arm extended to grab me if I tried to go out. Celia on the staircase. Inns 1 step below, eyes closed and hands over her ears, like a child who believes that if she does not listen, it is not real. Lola was praying. I do not know to whom. To no one. To everyone. Hugo held the folder over the void with his right hand. His left gripped the railing. The wind pushed him against the iron and then pulled him back, as if the storm were deciding whether to keep him or not. I tried to reason with him. I told him we had the tapes. That there were witnesses. That destroying the folder would change nothing. I do not know if he heard me. The wind swallowed the words. But something was breaking behind his eyes. I could see it in the way his mouth trembled. In the way his shoulders stopped being straight for the first time since he arrived at the lighthouse. And then he screamed. Not at me. At the sea, at the storm, at the black void that opened beneath his feet. I was 25 years old. The sentence came out with a force he no longer had. Hoarse. Ragged. Like something ripped from inside that leaves raw flesh. My father told me no one was going to get hurt. We just had to move the packages. The boat was not supposed to sink. Nobody was supposed to die. An involuntary confession. Before 5 witnesses drenched in rain and horror. 20 years of holding the water behind a dam, and the dam had just burst. I called the lighthouse keeper. I told her to turn off the light. But I did not know the boat was going to sink. I did not know. Lola stopped praying. She went very still, looking at Hugo the way you look at something that finally has a name. The monster from her nightmares. The voice on the phone that told her turn off the light or your son wakes up dead. Hugo released the folder. He did not throw it. He opened his fingers and let it go. The wind caught it instantly. The pages opened like a wounded bird trying to fly one last time, and the storm carried them away. I saw my notes, my clippings, the photographs of 20 years, the maps with red lines. I saw all of it turn to white confetti against the black sky, and then disappear. I screamed. An animal scream, the sound of someone having something torn from them that has become part of their body. I lunged for the railing. I do not know what I intended. To catch the pages in midair. To jump after them. I only know that my legs moved on their own toward the void. Martin grabbed me. He wrapped both arms around my waist and dragged me inside with a strength I did not know he had. We both fell to the stairwell floor. I was still screaming. Martin held me and repeated my name over and over, as if the sound of my name were the only thing that could keep me from breaking apart completely. I broke apart anyway. What followed were hours I remember as loose fragments. Broken glass from a night my memory refuses to reassemble whole. Hugo came in from the balcony. Soaked, shaking, hands empty. He looked at no one. He climbed to the lantern room and closed the door. Metal against metal. The bolt. He locked himself in with the rotating light and the wind whistling through the glass joints, and he did not come out. Inns sat on the landing floor and wept without making a sound. Her brother was a killer. Her father had been the architect. There is no way to change your blood. She tried later, changing her surname. But that was later. Martin carried me to the common room. He put a blanket over my shoulders. He made me something warm. I do not remember what it was. I know it burned and my hands would not stop shaking. Celia kept watch by the window. Lola prayed by the cold fireplace, murmuring names that were not saints' names. They were the 6. Her private litany of 20 years. The folder was gone. 20 years. All to the sea. But I was wrong to think it was over. The tapes remained. The tapes were the voice of the dead and the voice of the killers, recorded on the same magnetic thread, and no wind can carry that away. It was 2 in the morning when Lola stopped praying. She got up slowly. She went to the window that faces the cliff and stood staring into the darkness. 1 minute. 2. Motionless as a statue of salt. And then she called to us. A whisper that somehow cut through the noise of the storm. Look. On the cliff, below, along the path that climbs from the beach to the lighthouse, there were lights. They were not flashlights. They were not reflections. They were flames. Small, trembling, yellow, moving slowly in single file along the path. Like candles. Exactly like candles held by hands that could not be seen. A procession. 6 lights. They climbed slowly, with the cadence of a funeral cortege, indifferent to the wind that should have blown them out in a second. No real candle survives a force 10 gale. But those lights did not go out. They climbed. Step by step. Toward us. Lola crossed herself. A Santa Compana, she whispered. No one spoke. What my body felt was not fear. It was something more ancient. Something that has no name in English and perhaps not in Galician either. The certainty that the dead do not leave entirely. That sometimes they walk again. I heard a noise above. Hugo came out of the lantern room. He came down and approached the window. For the first time that entire night, his face expressed neither fear nor calculation. Only awe. The lights climbed. They drew closer. They reached the bend in the path where the trail turns and disappears behind the rocks, just before the lighthouse esplanade. And they went out. All at once. As if someone had blown out 6 candles on a birthday no one was invited to. Darkness. Only the beam of the lantern turning above our heads, sweeping the empty cliff where a moment before there had been lights. Celia spoke first. St. Elmo's fire. Static electricity. The minerals in the cliff face. It is a documented phenomenon. Lola shook her head. They are the 6 from the Santa Lucia. They have come up to see who called them. Hugo sat down on the floor, slowly, his back against the wall, and stared into emptiness with the expression of someone who has stopped fighting. I do not know what to believe now, months later, in this hospital room. I do not know if what I saw was static electricity or my father climbing the hill with 5 other men to tell us it was enough. That they had waited long enough. What I know is that after the lights, something changed in all of us. The procession broke something that could not be put back together. An hour passed. Perhaps more. Then someone said, "Where is Inns?" Her room was empty. Her camera on the bed. Her jacket hanging. But Inns was not there. After Roman, after the lights, a person who disappears is not a person who has gone to the bathroom. We divided up the lighthouse. Hugo did not move from the floor. Martin went down to the basement. It was Martin who found her. She was in the former keeper's office. Sitting in the chair, wearing the headphones, crying. I ran down. When I entered, Inns was removing the headphones. Slowly. With the hands of someone who has just touched something poisoned. She looked at us. Face soaked, eyes red, mouth open as if the words had gotten stuck between her throat and her teeth. There is another tape. It was separate from the others, tucked in a case beneath the radio, without a label. Inns had found it while we were watching the lights. She had gone down alone, in the dark, with a single candle. It was not the maritime frequency. It was a telephone conversation. The previous keeper had also recorded the calls that came into the lighthouse. And someone had called the night of the shipwreck. Hours before. The voice on the call was deep, authoritative. Inns recognized it instantly. Her father. Manuel Sedera. The ship owner. And the voice that answered him was Hugo's. Young. Confident. Without the tremor we had heard on the balcony. Amoro is going to talk. If he talks, we lose everything. Sedera's voice. Calm. Like someone commenting on the weather. When? Hugo. 25 years old. Asking when with the naturalness of someone asking the time of a meeting. The boat leaves at 10. The lighthouse goes off at 11. By 11:15 there is no problem. By 11:15 there is no problem. 8 words. 6 men dead in 8 words. My father sentenced between 1 hour and the next like someone crossing a line off in a notebook. And the lighthouse keeper, Hugo again, asking about Lola, making sure the piece fit. She has a kid. She will do what we tell her. Sedera, knowing that a mother will do anything. Using it as leverage, as a tool. The tape cut off there. A father and son planning a multiple murder with the efficiency of a business transaction. Inns set the headphones on the table. She looked at me. Voice broken, eyes steady. My father killed your father. My brother killed Roman. What am I supposed to do with that? I looked at her. A woman in her late 20s whose world had collapsed in 48 hours. Who now knew her father was a killer. That her half-brother was another. That the blood she came from was rotten to the roots. The truth, I told her. What I have been trying to do for 20 years. The truth. Inns closed her eyes. She nodded once. And in that gesture I saw something I had not seen in 20 years of investigation. Someone from the other side choosing justice over blood. A Sedera choosing to do the right thing. We came up from the basement. The 5 of us, Inns, Martin, Celia, Lola, and I. Hugo was still sitting on the floor of the common room, in the same position we had left him in, his gaze lost on some point on the floor that only he could see. We did not tell him about the second tape. He already knew what was on it. It was nearly 4. The storm continued, but the intervals between gusts were growing longer. Perhaps it was easing. We sat down to wait. For dawn. For the chance to call the Guardia Civil. The tapes were safe downstairs, in a room that had waited 20 years to be opened. Then the emergency generator coughed. Once. Twice. The hum that had been sounding in the background for hours, so constant we had stopped hearing it, cut out. It returned. It cut out again. And then it died. Total darkness. The lighthouse lantern stopped. The beam of light that had been turning above our heads all night, the only constant heartbeat in that chaos, went still. And the darkness that fell upon us was a different kind of darkness. It was not the absence of light. It was a presence. Something thick, something you could touch, something that entered through your ears and your mouth and filled you from inside. Lola moaned. A low, animal moan, the sound of a woman for whom the lighthouse going dark is the worst memory possible. The last time that light went out, 6 men died. Nothing is wrong, said Celia in the darkness. The fuel has run out. That is all. But that was not all. In the silence the generator left behind, we heard something else. Above. In the lantern room. Metal against metal. The bolt on the lantern room door. Someone was sliding it open. From inside. Hugo. Hugo, who had been sitting on the floor for an hour without moving. Hugo, who at some point had gone up to the lantern room without anyone noticing. Hugo, who was now opening the door in total darkness and stepping out. I heard his footsteps on the stairs. Descending. Slowly. Step by step. In the darkness. Without a candle. Without haste. No one moved. No one breathed. The footsteps went down. Past the second floor. Past the first. They kept going down. Toward the basement. Toward the tapes. The next chapter will be released when we reach 150. 150 people who know this story. 150 witnesses who cannot be silenced. Subscribe. Not for me. For the truth that is still on those tapes.